as I texted, is my daughter's 15th birthday.
Happy birthday, baby Bagley.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday from all of
My
us to
youngest,
you. Happy
15
birthday
years old,
all of us to you. Hey.
you know what she asked last night?
What?
Well, other than wanting to get Instagram, she goes, so when am I going to start learning to drive? Like immediately. And what's funny about that is both of my boys, like I had to beg them to get their driver's license.
Well, they
Literally
knew that came
beg
with
them.
they knew that came with way more responsibilities, and they did not want that, I'm sure. That meant they were going to have to drive baby Bagley around.
No, I wouldn't have let them do that. No, but both my boys, when they finally did turn 18, they got their driver's license. Both of them had jobs because they weren't really active in school. So I said, well, if you're not going to be in an activity, you need to go get a job and learn how to work for a living.
Yeah.
So they did.
Good. They still didn't want to drive, so they didn't have to get a job.
Nope. So we had to drive them around for a good portion of their first couple of years of working for the both of them, which sucked, but it was keeping them out of trouble. So we felt like it was worth it.
Yeah. Busy. What is it? Idle hands or the devil's playground?
I think so. I think, there's a reason that they say that. But I don't know. Does your daughter have the Instagrams or the TikToks? And
she pretty much has all of it, but I like stair-stepped her into it, and I still monitor all of her things, and yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think watching my boys in the video game craze that they were in, I remember playing video games as a kid, but I don't remember it being the only thing I did in my life, and it was my complete obsession was just playing video games.
Right.
And for them, it is like their whole life is playing video games. Even now, I mean, they're in their mid-20s.
I'm just not about it. I can't do it. I cannot do video games.
I can't spend that long playing video games.
I would die. I would just die. It's torture to me.
Yeah. So my oldest, he doesn't like to sit around very often. I mean, he will sit there. If you have him sit down for 10 seconds, he's going to get up and walk around, go do something. But you put him in front of a video game machine, and he'll be there for 8 to 10 hours without stop.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I so wanted to chime in on that because, Jason, when you and I were kids, we weren't allowed to sit on video games. It was okay. You get 10 minutes and get out of the house. First of all, we had like Atari, Pong. Like, do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Well, the rich kids had Atari. I had Intellivision.
No. We did not have Atari. My mom's best friend down the street had Atari.
Yeah,
so we only played it when we went over there.
Yeah, no. So the one rich kid or the kid that was spoiled had the Atari, and we would all go over there and play Pitfall.
Is that Pong? I don't remember Pitfall.
I don't know.
I never played Pong on Atari. I played Pitfall. I played whatever that racing game was that was on it.
When I was growing up, the only time I would ever play video games as a kid was whenever we would go to Josh and Chance Rose's house, and they would play games, and I would kind of try a little bit, but mostly I was like, this is not my thing. But I could do, what is it, the one where you shoot the ducks?
Duck Hunt.
And I would play that by myself.
That's the original Nintendo, yeah.
Josh and Chance didn't really play video games with me because I wasn't very good. They're like, oh, yeah, you can play. We're going to go outside.
I remember the day we got our Nintendo. Like, it was on this little bitty 13-inch screen, and we're playing Super Mario Brothers on it and Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. But even then, it was like
fun.
You would play for an hour, maybe.
And be done. Well, also because then you'd have to take the cartridge out and blow on it.
Well, that was before you started. Once you got going, it was fine. It'd only glitch out once in a while.
Just like every time you changed games.
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, it worked completely perfectly.
In high school, I wanted a PlayStation because that was like the popular thing, whatever, cool. And, you know, I don't know why, but other than the fact that I knew I could play DVDs on it, and then like if because my house was the house that everybody hung out at, so I was like, well, the guys like to play video games, so like I got the Tiger Woods golf game, I got something else, and like something I don't know, a couple other things, but I mostly got it so I could watch DVDs.
Wow.
That's how much I like video games. One of my
I will
favorites
say that
is A Knight's Tale.
I will say that my parents stuck firm on it, and I never had Nintendo. We never had that stuff. It just my parents had 7 kids, and they didn't want you in the house.
Well, I
They were
mean,
like,
we
get
weren't
out.
allowed to. I mean, flat out. I don't think our parents knew what heat stroke was. You'd be in the middle of Texas heat, and they'd put us outside in the middle of summer and say, "Don't come back inside." And now we didn't have central heat and air at my house when I was a kid, so there was one air conditioner, it was a window unit, really big one, and all of us kids, other than using the water hose to keep cool and drink from, we would sit underneath the air conditioner, and when it would drip the condensation off, we would let it hit our foreheads and stuff to cool off. I swear it would make a sound when it hit our skin. That's how it felt to me. So I don't know. I've tried to connect with my boys. I went and bought. Now this is how hard I was trying to connect with the boys. I went and bought a PlayStation 5,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I can communicate with my kids again. I'll say, hey, let's get online and play a game
Right.
together. I cannot get them to play online with me at all. They won't do it.
You're still not cool enough.
I'm not cool enough. I'm like, I just wasted all this money buying this stupid PlayStation 5 that sits in the room. Now, I also have it there as a, hey, son, why don't you come and stay at the house? Come home from
Yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah.
I have a PlayStation 5. Like I figured it's
Yeah.
in the bedroom. Like you can sleep in your room
Yeah.
when
Or
you
not
want,
sleep.
or
Just lay
not.
there
Just
and
sit
play your
there and
video
play
games.
video games.
Okay, so there is one video game that I like to say is my favorite, and I'm really good at it.
Tetris.
Facebook.
Mm.
Do you just call Facebook a game?
Yeah.
I
Isn't
mean,
it?
I guess I don't know. Well, I don't know.
mean,
What am I going to
mean,
see today, Johnny? It's that kind of game.
There
Like,
was that
I
element there for a
mean-
little while where the video games on Facebook were really popular, like the farm one.
Oh yeah,
and
Farmville and
I
stuff.
Farmville,
never played
that's
any
it.
of that
I
stuff.
didn't do that
And you'd
either.
sit there and you'd have people friend you just so they could
Yeah,
invite
get
you
points.
to Farmville.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
God, yes.
Oh yeah, and then you had to block it to where they could no longer invite you to play games.
Yes.
Because then it wouldn't stop. It would just constantly.
Yes.
I do remember that. I gave in and I bought the kids when the Wii U first came out. I was enticed by the Wii U because I was like, wait a minute, this is games in motion.
They can exercise.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I did. I used the yoga and the balance, and I actually was getting into really good shape using it. But we would bowl. We would bowl every night. We would play baseball. We still do. We still have the Wii U. I like the Wii U, and then Maximus has I don't know what it's called. It's like a little handheld
Switch.
A Switch. She's got a Switch, and
Yeah,
so we
Elise
play
has a
baseball on
Switch.
that, and we bowl on that now because it's a little
So let me
I don't
tell
know,
you,
easier than using the
we had
Wii U.
the Wii, and when we got it at first, man, like we were, playing tennis. I don't know if you remember that
Yeah.
tennis, like this. Well, then I learned that you don't have to do any of that. So I'd sit on the couch,
You're just doing
and
your
just,
wrist.
like wrist,
Cheater. See, I really got into
Just
it.
flick
I
it.
would
Yeah.
I would do like the stand up
and I already
spike the
had plenty
ball.
of, practice. I was in plenty of good shape.
That's where lots of great videos came in of your spouses, like
Yeah, to making
videoing
fun
each
of
other.
us.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But I was totally into it. I did the Zen board. Did you have the board with your Wii U?
I don't remember. I don't.
So there was
think
like a board you could stand on,
Oh,
or
the balance board thing.
yeah. So you would sit on that. You could do the Zen,
No.
and it would like do your core workout. I mean, I used it a lot. I really liked it, and I probably need to use it some more, to be honest. So,
Mm.
but that's like it. And then And then Maverick saved up for I don't know, was it a Nintendo? Xbox. It was an Xbox. And when he didn't follow the rules, Todd took it off camera from the house and Hulk smashed it on the stone, and it was the best moment of his entire life. I'll say this: Maverick's 19 now, and that was 4 years ago when Todd did that, and because he warned him, if you don't follow the rules and you don't follow the rules of the game, it's gone. And he did it. And Maverick has said multiple times, "I'm so glad you did that, Dad."
That's awesome.
He goes, "Because I don't want to be one of those guys that's still sitting around gaming. Like that's all they do. It's such an obsession.
It's not just my boys. Like, I mean,
no, it's all.
There's an element of 18 to 28-year-olds that literally do not get out of their house.
So there was an old friend of mine that her husband was in the oil field, and so he made really good money. They had lots of kids, and all of a sudden he came home from oil field one day, and he decided he was going to be a gamer and stream in his garage, in their garage.
Like
and that's all he does.
Quit the oil field?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
So was he becoming like? Was he going to become like a?
It didn't work out real well.
That's more of a rhetorical question. You're making lots of money.
He went back to the oil field about a couple of years later. He stayed out of it though. Like I was like, "What are you doing with your life?"
Okay,
they didn't make it. They didn't make it past that.
So, hey, good morning, Brock. Hey, Brock. Brock's asking, can you talk about the carnivore diet? I have friends who swear by it. We'll do that in the second half when Adam Smith, the fat loss coach, actually joins us because he's the one in shape. You're going to see. I mean, we're all in shape at the table.
I am a shape.
Yes, but Adam will join us at the second half, and I will definitely ask him about the carnivore diet. I know some people who are doing that too. I mean,
I did it for about 8 months.
It's just a raging high protein. Is that right?
It's a little bit more than that.
Okay.
I'll just say this. My experience has been such, and if anybody has experience in dieting, that would be me.
Because you've tried them all.
I've done them all. And what it really comes down to is your caloric intake versus your outgo of energy.
Right.
And there are some balance points that will help you feel better. And for me, the carnivore diet was just too much of one thing. It just, you get really sick
of eating meat.
Of eating just meat by itself. And to do it really the right way, you can lose weight on it because it'll stave your appetite significantly. However, is that healthy? Is that long-term going to get you where you want to go?
Well, and as we've talked to Adam before, Adam said, depriving your body of any of the different food groups is the worst thing you could possibly do. And it's about balance. And he's probably going to talk about that, but I think
we definitely need to bring it up with Adam though. Cause I think he'll have a more of a nutritional aspect.
He's the expert.
But as far as how I felt,
he's the expert.
I felt good at first. And I'd say about month 3, I started losing energy. I would get tired. And I just didn't have any energy. Like I felt okay and I wasn't hungry, but I didn't want to go and just conquer the world.
Oh man, I'm going to be really curious to see what Adam says about that, because that comes back to where he said, I mean, your body does need carbs.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave it to the expert. So you guys didn't make it to that yesterday because you guys were talking about dating.
We had
sort of.
I didn't get to hear 1-800 the tank.
Okay, so I saw that. I saw that Derek Schuler put that in there. By the way, I didn't want to add to it because I know you said it first thing on the show. Happy birthday to your daughter, Kendall. Happy
15.
birthdays.
Happy birthday, baby baggy.
Terrifying.
So
let's get her on the road.
This week's focus word of the week is surrender. You're gonna have to surrender that baby to the road.
I got a whole lot of surrendering to do.
He said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of the weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." 2 Corinthians 12:9. Focus tip. As you focus on surrender this week, remember To raise the white flag when your pride sets in. Ooh, remind yourself to release it all to God.
Pride. Yep. I get it. By the way, this is a book by, it's called How One Word a Week Can Change Your Life. It's by Clear Cherry Reeves, and it's called The Focus Word of the Week. So it's very cool. There's more to it, like when you're,
Yeah,
but we're not going to
there's
read
a
the
lot
whole
more
thing that goes
words.
with it. So we just kind of
We'd
focus
be
on the
here all
word
day.
and the tip. So, and
Surrender.
to the meat.
That's where
Surrender
it
to the
says,
meat.
seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you.
Right.
It says that we're supposed to surrender ourselves to the Lord, and he'll take care of the rest. That's where worry goes. Wait, the peace that surpasses understanding that everyone talks about, that peace only comes when you surrender all your worries to God.
So I did that yesterday morning when I stuck my 13-year-old on his first flight without.
Was it a Southwest jet?
It was a Southwest.
Well, that would be why you'd be surrendering.
No.
At least it wasn't
What are you talking
Spirit.
about?
It wasn't Spirit.
Was
Come
it a
on.
Boeing?
No,
it wasn't
not
Alaska.
a Boeing.
It wasn't Alaska.
No,
it wasn't.
No, what a terrible.
Spirit.
Hold on though, because I would do want to come to that story because that's something like.
Did you hear about?
United? Yes, no. I don't know if there's another flight, but anyway, but Southwest. I've been flying them. I've flown them so much in the past 20 years, the past 25 years. The past 28 years. That this is where I felt the most comfortable, and they were great because I got an escort pass, so I was able to bring him up into the, terminals, and he's flown a lot, but usually they're flying Delta to Minnesota, and this is his first time me getting him to over there on Southwest because
Can I just state the obvious?
$900 cheaper, by the way. What?
You just admitted to being an escort.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Well, some people actually admit to it, and then there's those that don't.
So they really need to come up with a better name.
Why are you turning me up? You just turned up number 2. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Thank you. All right.
They really need to come like there's got to be a better word than escort pass, right?
I know. Like, can it just be parent pass? Like, yeah. But it's not always a parent dropping their kid.
Guardian pass.
So they let you go through security. You can take your child up there. And there was another. I didn't realize she was a mom. I thought she was like standing in the family line. And I'm like, what is she standing in here by herself? She's an adult, but you never know. Well, her daughter wasn't standing with her. So Mom, she was letting her go too. But we got up there, we had breakfast, and
she must be 15 as well.
Max, it's possible because she looked a little bit older than Maximus. So Maximus is 13, which is considered an adult on the airlines, right? So they can fly without help from the airline, which Maximus is almost 6 foot. So yeah. It's kind of like he doesn't look 13, but he is 13. And you have to like remember that, like, okay, I got to walk you through this process because he goes, I get to pick my own seat. I'm like, yeah, it's Southwest. You're free to fly here. Okay. You are free to fly and pick your own seat. And he goes, well, I'll just stay in the B group. And I said, no, you won't. I said, because if you want the seat you want, I said, you're going to
get in first.
And you just, you don't get in first. The family is the in between A and B. So you're after the first still. You're before the rest of the B group. So if you want that window seat or you want that aisle, that's the way, get on early as you can. And I'm always an A because I've been flying so long. So you can't get those privileges for your kids. So anyway, so he made it. And of course I was like, okay, call me when you touch down in Austin, which is probably my biggest worry, was like, okay, he's changing planes without himself. I'm like, okay, you're getting it at 19, you're leaving at 15. Don't go anywhere else but to the bathroom and maybe the closest place for a snack. And then back to your seat. Make sure you're, just kind of rolled him through all of the typical things that could happen. The gate could change, pay attention, blah, blah, blah. He made it. So I had to surrender when I said yes to letting him go up to Minnesota and spend spring break with his cousin and my sister and Todd's cousin and other cousins and other family. So, because once you get into Minneapolis, it's another 5 hours to where they actually live. So, and then it was like a meet halfway, and it's a day of travel for Minnesota, man. Like Minnesota. You're going. I mean, you can fly directly in there, but Delta's the only flight, the only airline that will take you out to the small little
other airports
in Minnesota. So anyway, I surrendered. That was my point, and it was saying yes, and then it was getting them there, and then just being okay. All right. Of course, I check with Maximus and he's on the plane. I was like, all right, just want to tell you I love you. I'm proud of you. Just know I'm still, can't help it. I'm your mom. Right. And he goes, plane's going down, Mom. I'm dead. I'm like, you little shit. And I'm like, thanks for.
Well,
So I'm like,
it
I'm
might
not feeding
but
into
I
it.
might kill you when you get home.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not happening. I mean, it wasn't happening. So anyway, so my point was that I did surrender to that. But speaking of flights and planes and all this crap that was going on with Boeing, and in the whistleblower is dead.
Whistleblower's dead, and
So,
United
alleged.
just canceled every one of their orders from Boeing.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, that happened that next day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's just say this. I mean, does anybody else find it fishy that he's supposedly took his own life? He'd been retired from Boeing for years already. He had a pension.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't whistleblowing while still working for them.
Boeing was a great American company, and the optics looked really bad. And now you have, for United, it's not about whether it's a plane that would be well put together at this point. If you're flying, what's the first question you're going to ask now? Am I flying on a Boeing jet? Because if I am, I don't know how I feel about that. Unless it's an Airbus 380, I'm not getting on.
Right.
And that's really sad, because it was one of the greatest companies that's ever come out of the United States is Boeing. And they'll get it back together, but I find it it's going to be it's going to be kind of Bud Light style.
Well, I just don't understand, like when you have such high demand, and being such a well-known company and in such an important role of the transportation of 300 people, on average per flight, right? 200 to 300 people. That's a giant responsibility. This isn't a place where you cut corners and say, let's just rush it through. Well, that's good enough.
People are trying to take this and make it a political thing. Well, this is DEI related and all that. And
No,
I have to completely disagree. This is corporate management cutting corners to save money, to make money on their stock price. Plain and simple. There's no other way around it. It's what happens in business. Just like you go to your favorite restaurant. When it first opens up, it's absolutely amazing. You can't figure out why it's so good. You go back 2 years later, and it's like, man, it's the same food, but it doesn't taste the same.
Not quite right.
It's because they have to start cutting corners everywhere they can. And that's what happens in business. And unfortunately, if you're hiring people based on, if you don't want to pay people the rate that they need to make, they're going to give you the effort that you're willing to pay.
Well, can we say this really quick though? Because you don't have to cut corners everywhere you can. You have to cut corners in the right places. But they're doing it carelessly wherever they can to grow, to increase their profit. And increasing profit is better when your production is better, when you hire the right people, when you hire more people. I mean, and you're producing more, you make more money, you're more profitable. Right. And instead they just want to look at where to cut back. You know what, I can get, and on the restaurant side, let me see if I can get these chicken cutlets cheaper, and not have to make them fresh.
Right.
I could have faster productivity. But you don't know where they're coming from.
Or you start at a restaurant, they have all the things that they make from scratch, and then all of a sudden they're your sales rep at Benny Keith or Cisco or whoever is like, look, I have the same thing that you're doing, IQF, which means it's frozen.
Yep.
And I can sell it to you cheaper, and it's not costing you all the labor that you're having to do. And they're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, so you're doing that, and it's a pretty good product. Like you're getting something that's high quality IQF, but then all of a sudden their supplier changes.
Well, I'll give you an example.
Now you're already not making the chicken tenders.
So Hard
anymore.
Eight over here in God love our Hard Eight. They have some really great food over there in some areas. I don't necessarily like everything there, but there's a lot of really good things. And
I've never eaten there.
One of my favorite things that they had when it first opened was their macaroni and cheese. They had like a shelled cheese, and it was real. You could tell it was real cheese, y'all. I mean, it was outstanding. Well, a few years later, I was like, man, this is different. Like it's not the same. And I talked to one of the employees, and they said, oh yeah, they stopped making it there as far as the cheese was concerned, and they're using like a mix, which it's still real cheese, but it's not made there. And it's just that slight difference. It's good.
It's
It's
not
really
great
good.
anymore.
It's just even more processed.
but
I mean,
it's
really.
it's not as good as it was before. And I think when you cut corners like that, that's when things go really wrong.
Hey, if I'm going to
Scary
sin, I'm going to
wrong.
sin good. We can talk more about wellness when we come back from the break.
With the fat loss coach, Adam Smith.
Abnormal realities.
I love my mom.
Yep. She sent me a message.
My mom did?
Yeah, Wednesday night. And she invited me over tomorrow night to watch Titanic and share a bowl of popcorn. And I accepted.
You did?
Yep.
That'd be fun.
And she calls it Chaps Only Night every Saturday night.
Look,
Miss Dixie,
Look,
how you doing? He said, it's my mom, bro. All right, it's my mom.
I want to hear the answer to the Titanic and popcorn. Go ahead, Mom. What's up?
Oh!
Hi, boys.
Hi,
I just
Mom.
wanted to ask Rocky if he wanted butter on that popcorn or not.
Oh,
I
my
would rather
God.
have the butter somewhere else, but if popcorn's the only place I can have it, I'll take it.
Jeez,
Hey,
dude.
nobody says I can't roll around in it for a little bit.
All right, Mom.
That is my
Love you.
girl. I love you,
Mom.
Dixie.
Abnormal realities
My mom, love you.
Dixie.
Bye. I love you too.
with Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Holy crap.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
JoCo Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Trying. Hey there, welcome back to the second half of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Sarah Reeves. Jason Bagley, he went to work, but guess who's joining us this morning? Adam Smith, the fat loss coach. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, just want to tell everybody again, if you don't know what you're listening to, it's JoCo Community Radio. And we are the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network and on our station app. Check out our lineup and more at tuneinjoco.com. You can also download the app from right there, or you can search for it in your store on your phone. We thank our valued partners in helping amplify the voices of our communities. Todd Hurd and Associates, if you need a will trust or get that probate done, if you've lost a loved one, be sure to get in contact with them. They will get you on the right road to take care of it for you, so you don't have to worry about the problems, and do it sooner rather than later. Trust me, you want to have it done sooner rather than later. Be sure to check out the tiffy.com. There's
Hey crew, how you doing? So I'm going live on radio like I do
there's
every
a great
single
special
Wednesday.
going on right now.
Tune in.
And on the tiffy.com, you can use code Women Rock. Women Rock and get 25% off your order, because we're celebrating women all month long, because it's International Women's Month, right? Is it
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm like,
it's
I
women's,
don't know.
I'm sorry. It's Women's History Month.
It's
That's
about
what's-
us, but
that's how you
I don't
say
know.
it. It's Women's History Month. I don't know why I said it so wacky, except because there's also International Women's Day. But anyway, so you can check those things out. Yeah. So anyway, but guess who's here with us today? It's Adam. It's
Good morning.
Tuesday. It is
No,
time.
it's Wednesday.
I mean, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday,
definitely
people. I slept really hard. I slept really good yesterday, which is not typical for me. I actually got some sleep. So, I mean, my body was telling me and screaming, you need rest. So my puffy eyes kind of still tell it. But
My neck is cricked and my left side over here on my back is like mad at me. I'm like, I slept wrong last night, but I did sleep. So I'm not sure if I'm mad about it.
I bought a new shoulder neck massager on Amazon the other day, and it came a couple days ago. I charged it up and I used it, and Todd was laughing. I'm surprised he didn't get a
It's
picture of me.
huge, isn't it?
No, you put your arms through it, and
Oh.
then it straps around your back, so you can literally walk around. It looks like something's on you. So this giant thing. I will tell you what. I
Hey,
will tell
whatever
you.
floats your boat, Tiffany.
Right.
Whatever.
It
Whatever
worked.
helps.
It was working. It helped to loosen up my neck pretty good and relieve some of the pinched nerve pain I've been experiencing, and so I can just move on with life, right? And and actually get some sleep, because I'm pretty sure that's why I didn't sleep the night before. All right, Adam, we've already had some questions this morning for
Yeah, I was
you.
having a look.
Yeah, there's Brock was asking about the carnivore diet, and he's got some friends who swear by it. And I was like, well, you got to wait till Adam joins us, because he's the expert and he can tell us about it. What are your thoughts on the carnivore diet?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there's some positive and negatives to any diet that anyone does. If your sole goal is to lose weight, it doesn't matter if you're a carnivore or vegan or on a candy diet. You just have to be in a calorie deficit. And this is what most people experience when they do carnivore. For example, they've gone from eating rubbish food and junk food and drive-through and all this kind of stuff to then eating pretty clean, because they're cooking food at home and they're not eating fries and not eating junk food. So the weight comes off pretty quickly. A thing that most people don't take into consideration is that you still are eating lots of fat with your food, and you're still eating a lot of calories. So if you're not measuring your calories, you're going to put on weight no matter what, whether it's coming from carbohydrates or it's coming from carnivore. There's a lot of great results and great research with carnivore, because obviously you're cutting out sugars, you're cutting out processed food. So people's gut health gets super healthy, super quick. Obviously you go through a transition where, using the bathroom just becomes difficult because you're not eating as much fiber. But 9 times out of 10, people that can stick to it and can stick to it for at least 3 months, where you're really consistent with it, you're going to get some good results for sure.
Okay, so again, and I said we kind of touched on it just a little bit, just from our experience of talking with you and believing.
I don't even know what it is.
I mean, I don't believe in diets anyway. And
Yeah.
Adam, we talked about this. I mean, it's about balancing everything, like your body. Jason talked about it briefly, because he did the carnivore diet a while back, and he made it for 3 months. But he said he got to a point to where he was just tired, like he had no energy. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, isn't that kind of where, I mean, talking about the balance of everything, your body does need carbs,
Carbs are your friend.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, your body does need carbohydrates. There's certain branches of the human race that will just work better on carnivore diet. So with our genetic history, for example, if you were an Eskimo or lived in the snow and ice in your entire life, your genetic predisposition is to eating lots of meat and lots of fats, because you don't have access to vegetables. So when you all of a sudden have access to vegetables and carbohydrates, you put on weight, and you have all of these conditions like diabetes and stuff like that kick in really easy, because your genetics aren't made for that, right? Some people are going to favor the carnivore diet. Some people can't digest steak. So it depends on every single person. But the magic pill, or the trick that I've found with every single person that I've ever worked with the last 15 years, is it just depends what you can stick to for the longest amount of time. So your consistency and adherence to any diet that you do, or any nutrition plan that you do, is going to give you the best results. If you're doing the carnivore diet or an elimination diet, for example, to help with health problems, that's great, right?
Hold on. I did something wrong. That was me. Hold up, Adam. Don't say anything else. Just wait a minute.
What happened?
It's
Where'd
me.
he go?
It's me. I was on the wrong computer. Sorry, people. I was on the wrong computer, and I hit mute, and I muted you, Adam, and I muted everything, actually. So okay. So anyway, carry on, sir. Carry on.
That's right. No worries. So when we're talking about the elimination diet, the carnivore diet is a great place to start, right? If you're struggling with health issues, like you have gut issues or skin issues, or sleep poorly, or have ache pains and stuff like that, because you can then start to put food back into your diet, and it'll give you an understanding of what works best for you. If you're running out of energy on the carnivore diet, it just means that your body's not optimized to use fat as an energy source. So it's been relying on carbohydrates as an energy source for a really long time. So 9 times out of 10, that means sugar, right? So if your body's used to that, it has been doing that for a long time, you can either push through it, or you can just learn how to balance your fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. So then you can still have a slice of pizza and not worry about it.
Because you still need fat.
You still need fats, yeah. So there's 3 macronutrients. Well, there's 4, but we're not going to talk about alcohol because alcohol is just a poison, right? Even though it is still a fuel. We have fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. So when it comes to our fats, they come in the form of nuts, avocado, oils, seeds, that kind of stuff, but they're really high in calories. When we're talking about carbohydrates are really important for energy, to sustain muscle mass, to build muscle, and to give us energy to do activity, right? And then protein is there to help us build muscle, to help us repair the muscle that we break down, and then just help with energy through the day.
I don't have any problem digesting steak. I
don't
just want to
either.
say that.
I don't
Well,
either.
Steak, seafood, salmon, chicken. I mean, I could probably do a carnivore diet. But I like my vegetables. So I mean,
yeah, so then don't do it. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to do it, right? And this is where a lot of people fall off, is they'll get on like TikTok or Instagram and then see some really attractive person that's never struggled with weight in their life
Right.
doing a carnivore diet.
I'm
And
like,
they're
shut
like,
up.
okay, I'm going to do it. If I
They're
can give
like,
any piece of advice to anyone, is don't get advice from someone that's
Who's never been overweight?
yeah, that's never been overweight, or that's never dealt with that stuff, or never had a struggle point, right? Because if they've always looked like they've just stepped out of a magazine cover,
Yeah.
they don't know the mental
They don't know what
behind
it's like to be built for comfort.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're getting advice, get advice from someone that is like you, but just further along the journey, or has gone through similar sort of situations.
well, and that's where you've shared your story too. I mean, you were not born and built the way you look right now. You learned your way into it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And learned and worked.
And healed your way
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Kind of more.
Well,
Oh,
it's
that's
just
good.
about figuring out how your mind works, right? You got to figure out what works best for you. And like, I love my folks, but they didn't know a lot about nutrition, so it was just like living on a farm, living with comfort food, that kind of stuff. Mom struggles with her weight and all that kind of stuff, so it was just sort of passed on. And then, you know, when you get to an age of like, hey, I want to date girls, but I'm the fat kid with the braces in the classroom, you got to try and like figure shit out. Otherwise, you're going to never get a date, right? So this is when I started playing sport and all this kind of stuff. So
I want to go back to the, you know, looking at somebody on TikTok or Instagram who's posting videos and I did the carnivore diet or I did V-shred and yeah, that's got to be your favorite, right? Take these here.
I don't even know what that is.
Take these pills. Take these pills. Not gonna lie, I tried it. I don't lie to Adam. Like I've told him, I'm like, I tried that stuff. All I did was sweat, but it made you like hot. Okay, like it, which doesn't do anything, right? So I threw the bottle away. I took them for like 5 days, and I was like, what is this? I feel like I'm having a hot flash, and nobody needs to add on a hot flash. So I threw them away. But the whole point was, and I didn't choose it for the reason of the person in the video, but these people, they're like, look, I've been on V-shred for 3 months, and they have like a 12-pack, and it's a chick. And she's like, you know, it's size of a toothpick with a 12-pack. And you're like, people, do you really believe that this woman just got a 12-pack from taking pills or from just eating meat? I mean, there was
it gave you muscle mass?
Right.
That's magic.
That's magic.
Yeah, this is one thing that drives me crazy is when you scroll through Instagram and you see some chick doing some booty band bullshit workout and she's got a massive ass and massive legs. She didn't get that from a booty band workout. She
No
got
way.
that from, like lifting heavy weight, and is probably an athlete as a kid and has been doing this her entire life. Right?
Muscle memory.
So, exactly. And this is the thing where, especially ladies, like, unfortunately, this whole industry is marketed to your insecurities. And this is why social media is horrendous for this. So a big part of the way that I coach, as you know, Tiff, is just to cut through the bullshit and just tell you what actually works and what doesn't work. So V-shred doesn't work.
No, it does not work. And I mean, granted, I only gave it 5 days, but I could already tell. I was like, this is not, what is this supposed to be doing to me? Because I literally, all you feel is hot. It makes you sweat. and that's not losing weight.
No.
And it, unless you're working out and you're sweating
And it
from
doesn't
the
matter if you're
workout,
losing weight if you're not getting into physical shape, like you're not able to breathe when
Right.
you go up the stairs. Like, what's the point? I can outwork most people. I'm heavy. I can lift heavy things, and I have a really great foundation. It's just, I'm built for comfort. I'm comfortable on top of it.
I'm built for listen, we're all built for comfort. Okay. I mean, it's like Adam said, I was born with a booty.
I was not.
And so building my booty is not as great of a challenge as it is for someone else who doesn't
I only have
one.
a rear end when I'm overweight.
No, I mean, I just have one. I do. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't.
So when I was doing my what did I use? What did I say I was doing in the hot tub?
I don't know, Tiff, what were you doing in the hot tub?
I really was
Tell us
doing
more.
I really was in the hot tub by myself,
It's not getting better.
and I was working my booty out. I really was. So, I mean, I don't have to do as much for my butt as I have to do for my belly.
Yeah,
because my belly is that's my stress. That's my stress fat. That's my problem area. That is my problem area. So, I'll take problems in other places, but inner thighs and my belly is what I have to focus on. And so, I mean, and it's the same thing with like I've told Adam. I'm like, okay, listen, I got to jump back in. Here's my problem area. Give me the workout that's going to focus on those areas. But when you're doing the workout, it's really working. He sets you up with a workout plan it's working your whole body. You can't help work your whole body at the same time.
Fat doesn't come off like one section at a time. I mean, you can tone
Yeah.
those muscles, but that doesn't make the fat go away in that spot. It's 1 inch at a time from all over.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard someone say, well, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to lose it in my boobs?
Oh, yep. Unfortunately, that's the first area that goes is boobs and chest.
Your soft fats.
Yeah, because it's everywhere. It's along the sides, it's underneath, and it's on your back. And so you're not really losing cup size, you're losing the fat that shouldn't be there in the first place, which is making your bra a little tight.
Well, yeah, you end up losing inches all over. The best way to I've painted this for people in the past is the first place you gain it is the last place you lose it. Right? So
that sucks in a way.
Sorry, it does. But you have to think of it as how we're built as human beings. So the reason that we store, especially females, you store a lot of belly fat and fat through your hips and your thighs is to protect your ovaries, right? Because you're here to have kids, essentially. Like, this is why we're designed the way we are. And like with men, a lot of our fat storage is in our back or like in our chest as well, again, to protect vital organs. So it's how fat lands on our body because we're male and female, but also what are you genetically disposed to? So how are you made up? Like, what do your parents look like? Where are your parents from, right? And then also your stress hormones, like cortisol, for example, dictates a lot of where fat lands on your body as well. So cortisol being a stress hormone, that dictates a lot of belly retention. High estrogen in both females and men have a lot of that, almost like that belt section, right? Like just below your belly button, and then that sort of wrapped around your hips. That's a lot of estrogen in your blood and your system, and too high estrogen as well.
See, those are good things. You know what I want to do? I want to cover with you more.
How do you balance that
another week, which is the like where your parents are from. I think that's really, and when you're talking straight up genetically, like, okay, hey, you're from they're Eastern European, right? I mean, are you talking? I mean, totally like where you're from. I've done my full DNA, test. So I've got all that information. So I'd love to dive into that next week or a week when we're all prepared for that. But what you were just asking, you said something else about balancing estrogen. How do you balance it?
If we've got influx of estrogen, that's causing us to gain more belly fat or whatever it is. Like, how do we combat that?
So number one, I'm going to tell every single person, probably over the age of 25, is to get their hormones tested regularly, right? So if you go and get them regularly, like every 6 months to pushing every 12 months, there's 1,000,001 clinics, especially here in the US, and there's some specific clinics that I use with my clients that they'll send you a kit. You'll take it to your doc or wherever you want to get your blood drawn, and then you send it away, and they'll send you the results of like, hey, this is too high, this is too low, this is what you need to do. I can send you the links offline, and then if you want, you can forward it on.
Yeah,
But
let's do that, because I mean, I get mine regularly checked, and because I've been on testosterone pellets for 8 years.
Yep.
And they tried to give me estrogen once, and well, they actually did, and they were like, well, it's not low, but we'd like to see you a little higher. And I'm like, okay. And I said, don't ever give me that shit ever again. I don't need it, because it sent me way back. So you're talking about 25. I'm going to add to that, because I think this is really, really important for every parent out there to have especially their daughter, you need a marker at like when they get their menstrual cycle. You need a marker. Okay, what are they at? What are all their levels at here? What's their levels at 18? And then move to 25 after that. But because you've got to know, what is my normal? Because my normal is not the same as Sarah's. And I mean, we are all made completely different. So they were trying to compare me to the average numbers, right? Well, there are no average numbers. And I know for sure, especially after starting testosterone pellets, that my norm way back when, my testosterone's always been high. It's always been high, because once I started on it, I was like, oh, I feel like me again. And so of course, your vitamin D levels, and what else?
I mean, this is exactly right, Tiff. Normal for you is not normal for Jane Doe down the road. So you have to, one, reflect on a couple things, right? And I use it for a couple of my clients versus just using your weight in the scale, is the 3 H's. Like, measure yourself with the 3 H's. So when you wake up in the morning, are you hungry? Are you happy? And are you horny? So the reason you use 3 H's is because if you're horny in the morning, it kind of tells you where your hormones are at. Traditionally, your testosterone levels are going to be higher between 5 and 7 a.m. in the morning. Then, are you happy? So internally, like, are you happy with life? Are you happy with your day? Do you have spouts of ups and downs? And then third, are you hungry in the morning? If you're hungry in the morning, it means your body's using the fuel that you fed the night before, right? So you're processing it, it's going through a system, like everything's functioning the way that it should be. So if you're going down any sort of testosterone replacement therapy or any sort of hormone therapy side of things, reflect on when you were happiest and when you were healthiest in your life. Like, we all have that period that we know, okay, cool, this period of my life is I was happy, I was, out chasing girls, or I was always active, whatever the case is, like that, the vital or vitality sort of area of your life. When was that, and how are you feeling? And then when you go get tested, reflect back. So Tiff, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Birth control pills. That was a terrible time in my life.
Oh, birth controls, like, I'll tell you what.
Horrible.
Well, you guys we had a discussion.
I don't want to mess with my hormones.
We had a discussion off air last week about them trying to ban it, because it is horrible for the body to go on birth control. I mean,
and I don't need any help.
And I'm not going to stop anybody from doing it. I mean, your body, your choice to do what you want with it, but do your research as to what it is that, you're putting into your body, no matter what type of medicine it is. And, less medicine, the better, is really it. And that comes down to overall health, right, Adam? I mean, if you don't want to be on, blood pressure medicine, and if you don't want to be on insulin, and if you don't want, granted, unless you're serious type 1 diabetic, I'm talking type 2, where you can control it with diet and exercise, and you can. I hate that whole I hate hearing anybody say, well, I'm borderline diabetic. No, I worked in the industry for Roche Diagnostics, and there is no borderline. You are either diabetic, you're either in type 2 diabetes, or you are not. And that all comes down to testing your sugar levels, which I really kind of recommend everybody test their sugar every once in a while and see where you're at, because when you're feeling crappy, and this goes down to like that afternoon slump, right, Adam?
Yeah.
That's affected by whatever you just ate, what you ate in the morning, and then what you ate at lunch.
100%. So another thing that affects your blood sugar levels quite significantly through the day is caffeine. So if you have caffeine, like coffee, on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, your blood sugar levels are going to be all over the place all day. You're going to have that constant up and down, the constant crashing, the constant want for the high, right? And this is when you start to turn to instant gratification, like smashing a donut or junk food or whatever the case is, because you're just chasing that high. So the best trick to level your blood sugars as best you can through the day is, one, getting up, and within the first 30 minutes, we've spoken about this before, is making sure you're hydrating yourself, and then you're having a source of protein. So this can be a protein shake, it can be eggs, whatever you want, but have a source of protein, and then do about 30 minutes of steady cardio. That means, go on.
I already failed this morning. I failed because I didn't get my 30 grams of protein in, and I went straight for a cup of coffee. So now,
yeah. So just trying to negate the damage as best you can, and try for lunch have as much protein as you can.
I'm gonna go get a 46 gram
Fairlife.
Fairlife, yeah.
Perfect.
But it has. I gotta drink the chocolate. So sorry.
And then if you can, go for a walk afterwards, even if it's just 10 minutes. It will help with your blood sugar levels and your digestive system.
I actually have something that's under my desk here at the office that I can work out on.
Thing?
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah. I'm actually getting one of those. I'm getting a treadmill. It's the treadmill that you just move it out from underneath your desk.
Yep.
That way I can do it right there, because I need to do it barefoot. I'm wearing heels every day, and I'm just not one of those people. I'm like, let me grab a pair of sneakers and throw it in my bag and put my sneaks on.
Well, you need to do like I do with my hairdryer here. You gotta have a pair of tennis shoes at your desk.
I have other shoes in there, and yeah. So, all right. So other than us totally distracting you with the carnivore diet and all of our other questions, was there something specific too that you wanted to share with everybody this morning? We got 2 minutes.
I mean, I want to kind of leave the chats on Wednesday morning with some actionable steps for people that can start to put in place straight away, versus trying to like use a coach or trying to climb Mount Everest in one sort of leap. Is one, try to get in an extra 500 steps every day for the rest of March, right? So if you're only normally doing 1,000 steps, just aim to get 1,500 or 2,000 steps. Just that little bit more is going to help a hell of a lot when it comes to, one, consistency, right? And then two, with weight loss as well. And then the second actionable step is just try to go to bed half an hour earlier. That's it.
I think you would be very proud of me, because now granted I had to take a Benadryl, but that was at 9. I was lights out at 9:45 last night, which is brilliant. So incredibly rare for me. But again, I was actually feeling the exhaustion. Mm-hmm. So, whatever was causing that exhaustion, I was there. So I feel good that I actually was in better. Like my husband and I looked at each other and went, are we in here at 9:15 at night? Like, something's wrong here. So, and it does feel good. It does feel good to go to bed early. All right. Tell everybody where they can find you, Adam.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, _fat loss coach, or you can find me in my Facebook group, or you can find me just on social media in general. I'm floating around all the time.
Just search the Fat Loss Coach and Adam Smith, and I promise you, he will magically appear. And it's good to have a guide. Everybody, it really is just good to have a guide, and I say that in the way that not everybody who gets to know you right away, Adam, hires you. It's about learning. Okay, it's about learning who Adam is, and going, he really gives a shit. Mm-hmm. So I just want to applaud you for that, because you really do care. You really do.
I appreciate it.
And you're very highly educated. So we greatly appreciate you. All right. With 30 seconds left, I want to thank Adam for joining us this morning on Wellness Wednesday. Have an amazing day, everybody.
Thank you, ladies.
Go out there, get moving.
500 steps a day.
Eat protein.
Go to bed early.
And check on
and heal your way into it.
Check on your 3 H's every morning. Okay. Are you horny, happy, and hungry? That's all I got to say. All right. Have an amazing day. God bless, guys.
Ladies, bye.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio. Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal